Welcome to Daily Review, your daily dose of literary exploration. We dive into books that spark curiosity and ignite growth. While our passion often leads us to nonfiction reads that empower and improve your life, no book is off limits. From gripping thrillers to insightful memoirs and compelling fiction to historical accounts, we're here to share and discuss all the interesting reads we discover. Tune in for your next great book idea.
Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're diving deep into Peter Hollins' remarkable book, Finish What You Start: The Art of Following Through, Taking Action, Executing, and Self-Discipline.
Yeah, and our mission today is, to really break down the essence of how we breach that gap, between just intending to do something and actually making it reality. We're extracting the powerful strategies, the insights, directly from Hollins' work.
Think of it maybe as a blueprint, a practical blueprint for consistent achievement. So you can move beyond just thinking about your goals and will actually get them done.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Daily Review. We truly appreciate you joining us for your daily dose of literary exploration. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue to share these amazing books with you.
And if you're enjoying what you hear, please consider taking just a moment to subscribe, rate, like, and comment on whatever platform you're listening from. It really helps support our channel, lets us get better, and bring you even more great content.
Also, if today's review sparked your interest and you're ready to dive into a copy of the book, please consider using the link in our description to make your purchase. It makes it super easy for you to get the book, and it also directly supports our channel and the author, allowing us to keep bringing you more great content. Thanks again for being part of the Daily Review community.
Now, what's truly fascinating here, and Hollins makes this clear right off the bat, is how universal this struggle actually is.
Yes, absolutely.
So many of us, if we're really honest, we have these brilliant ideas or grand intentions, even just simple tasks we know we should do, but that consistent follow-through, it just seems to slip through our fingers.
It's that frustrating loop, isn't it? You start strong, full of enthusiasm, that initial spark, and then it just fizzles out. First sign of hardship or boredom or just life getting in the way.
Exactly. And this deep dive, like you said, isn't just about willpower, that sort of brute force thing that often fails anyway. Hollins offers something more nuanced, almost scientific, really. It's about behavior change, productivity boosts.
He lays out actual systems, right? Specific rules.
Yeah, concrete rules designed to kind of circumvent our brain's natural resistance or tendency to put things off. It's about building a framework that doesn't just rely on sheer grit, It makes turning thoughts into action almost inevitable.
Okay, that's a perfect setup. So let's kick things off with the big question. What does it truly mean to finish what you start, beyond just a catchy phrase?
Well, Hollins defines it really clearly, and I think it resonates. He says it's about making your intentions reality. Simple as that, but profound.
Think about it. How often do we say, we'll do something? Maybe we even get inspired and actually start it.
Right, that Saturday morning burst of energy.
Exactly. But then you hit that first bit of difficulty, or you get tired or bored or just busy, and bam, it gets abandoned.
And it just sits there, whether it's a physical thing in the garage or just a nagging thought becoming, as Hollins puts it, like a damning reminder of laziness.
Oof, yeah.
It's a feeling many of us know too well. Hollins even shares this personal story about a wooden canoe.
Oh, yeah.
He promised himself one summer he'd carve this small wooden canoe, got a decent start the first week, full of that initial excitement.
Yeah.
But week 2, hands are sore. A new Star Wars movie is out. Week 3, he's busy seeing Star Wars again and, procrastinating, as he says.
So the canoe just sat there.
For years, in his garage, just this constant visible reminder of, not following through. He tried again later, same pattern. Great first week. Okay, second week, third week, running on fumes.
So what changed? How did he finally finish it?
That's where he stumbled upon this idea of temptation bundling. We'll talk more about that later. But basically, he paired the unpleasant task, carving the canoe, with an instant reward.
Like what?
Like listening to his absolute favorite album start to finish only while carving. Suddenly, it wasn't just about forcing himself. It was about making the unpleasant thing, pleasant enough to actually get through it.
That's a huge shift, isn't it? Turning a chore into something you almost look forward to, or at least tolerate better.
Exactly. So if following through can feel so good in the end, why is it such a massive struggle for so many of us?
It's not just one thing, is it? Hollins argues it's more like a composite. He uses this great analogy, comparing it to those big Japanese anime robots.
Yeah, like Voltron or the Power Rangers, where these smaller individual robots fuse together to make the big one.
Right. And each of those parts represents a distinct element of following through, but they're all connected.
Precisely. And Hollins unpacks this Voltron of follow-through, identifying 4 key components that need to work together. First up, there's focus. He calls it the head.
Like your internal GPS.
Kind of, yeah. It keeps your head in the game, your eyes on the prize. It guides your thoughts, directs your actions toward that single goal, making sure you're not wasting effort.
And it's not just any effort, right? It's concentrated effort.
That's the key point Hollins makes. You can be super busy running around, but if your efforts are scattered everywhere, you're just creating motion, not actual forward progress.
Like Esther in his example, the woman dreaming of the baking business.
Exactly. She had the dream, but she wasn't focused. If she had been, she would have structured her vacation time way better, scheduled specific things to move the dream forward instead of letting it just stay a fantasy while she relaxed.
Okay, so focus gives you direction. But knowing where to go is only part of it. What about the engine? The thing that keeps you going when you'd rather just stop.
That brings us to self-discipline. Hollins calls this the spine. It's that fundamental ability to, get your head down and work when you need to, even when you really don't feel like it.
It's the self-control part.
Yeah.
Resisting distractions.
Exactly. It keeps you focused despite all the temptations life throws at you. Without it, consistent effort is basically impossible. You just get swayed off course constantly. It keeps you upright, stops you collapsing when the initial motivation fades.
And Esther lacked that too.
Yeah, leisure is crucial, recharging is important, but if all her vacation was leisure and none was dedicated, focused work on the baking business, then that leisure actually became a vice. It threw things out of balance, actively hindering her goal because she couldn't consistently prioritize the harder but ultimately more rewarding work.
Okay, the direction, drive.
Yeah.
What about the actual movement, getting things done?
That would be action. The hands and feet of follow-through. This is all about prioritizing execution, simple motion. It's the visible part, where your intention actually translates into real-world movement. Point A to point B.
Sounds obvious, but it's a huge sticking point.
It really is. Your best plans stay abstract. Your biggest goals remain dreams without action. Esther, again, she failed to act on even the first small step, like researching permits, so she never got any closer. Her dream stayed purely in her head.
And the final piece, the one that keeps you going when it gets tough, when you hit those obstacles.
That's persistence, the heart. It's that firm commitment to stick with something for the long haul, even when you face setbacks, distractions, major obstacles.
Because most big goals are marathons, not sprints.
Exactly. Persistence is that tenacity to just keep pushing, understanding that progress isn't always smooth or linear. For Esther, though, the question of persistence never even came up. She stopped before she even really started. You only test your persistence when you've taken enough action over time to find those roadblocks.
So it's the synergy, isn't it? Focus, discipline, action, persistence, they all have to work together. A weakness in one can mess up the whole thing.
Totally. That's why people feel like they're working hard but getting nowhere. They're missing a limb on their Voltron, so to speak.
Okay, so we know the components. It sounds great when they align. But why don't we all just do it all the time? It's hard, obviously. But Hollins digs deeper into why it's so hard. He breaks it down into 2 main types of barriers.
Yeah, 2 main categories. Inhibiting tactics and psychological roadblocks.
Let's start with inhibiting tactics. These are things we kind of do to ourselves, consciously or unconsciously.
Pretty much. They're schemes we use that misuse our time and effort, leading straight to self-sabotage. One big one is setting bad goals.
How so? What makes a goal bad in this context?
Well, they can be too abstract, like saying, I want to be healthier. Okay, but what does that actually mean? What specific steps will you take? It leaves you lost. Or goals can be impossibly high, totally unrealistic.
Like the plant manager trying to double output when it's just not feasible.
Exactly. And when a goal feels impossible, it kind of lets us off the hook, doesn't it? We can abandon it without feeling too guilty because, hey, it was impossible anyway. We lose patience quickly.
And then there's the classic, the one everyone struggles with, procrastination.
Ah, yes, the art of delay. We are remarkably good at putting things off until the very last minute. Hollins specifically calls out productive procrastination.
Ooh, that sounds sneaky. What is that?
It's when you do endless planning, research, organizing, stuff that feels like progress, makes you feel busy and productive, but you're actually just spinning your wheels, not taking any real action towards the actual goal.
Moving sideways, not forwards.
Precisely. He has a great line. The lifetime string of laters woven into the noose of never. It feels comfortable in the moment, stress-free even, but it kills any real momentum.
And our modern world just throws temptations and distractions at us constantly. Phones buzzing, notifications.
Relentlessly. The path to follow-through isn't empty. It's lined with shiny trinkets, as Hollins says. That little red notification dot, instant dopamine hit, glues you to the stream.
Like the marketing officer example, checking Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram all day.
Yeah, the work might get done eventually, but it's probably not her best work because her focus is constantly shattered. Now, Hollins isn't saying eliminate all distractions. That's impossible.
So what's the solution? Become a hermit.
No, it's about strategic avoidance, maybe scheduling specific times when you log out of social media during deep work blocks and healthy, moderate use. Maybe using a short social media break as a reward after focused work. It's about disciplined indulgence, not total deprivation.
Makes sense. And the last inhibiting tactic, just plain old poor time management.
The classic so much to do, not enough time excuse, but Hollins argues it's rarely a true lack of time, more a lack of productive use of that time.
It stems from lack of planning, organization, focus.
All of the above. We forget things, overlook tasks, miscalculate how long stuff takes. We fail to prioritize, so unimportant tasks eat up time that should go to the crucial stuff. And in the 21st century, with emails, messages, endless options, it's easy to fall into this trap. If you can't manage your day effectively, how can you possibly manage long-term goals?
Okay, so those are the ways we kind of actively misuse our time and effort. But then there are the deeper things, the psychological roadblocks. These are more internal, maybe harder to spot.
Definitely more insidious sometimes because they operate below the surface. One of the most basic yet pervasive is just laziness and lack of discipline.
Not wanting to get off the couch.
Sometimes, yeah. Just a raw inability to start or keep going. You might have the perfect plan, but you lack the willpower, that initial energy, or the discipline, the focused intent to execute it. You look at the required sacrifice, even a small one like skipping an hour of TV, and you decide, nah, not worth it right now. Comfort wins.
And then there's the big one, fear of judgment, rejection, and failure. That holds so many people back.
Hugely powerful. Hollins uses the example of Laura, the volunteer with a great fundraising idea. Before she even picks up the phone, her mind races. What if no one signs up? What if it fails? What if people laugh?
So she just drops it.
Drops it entirely and feels immediate relief. Not following through becomes this act of self-preservation. She thinks she's avoiding judgment or rejection, but Hollins calls this a ruinous distortion in reasoning.
How so?
Because by not acting, you've already judged and rejected yourself. We have already failed the moment we decided not to try. The fear just creates this self-fulfilling prophecy of inaction.
Wow. Okay. And related but different is perfectionism out of insecurity. It looks good on the surface, right? Being diligent.
Yeah, it often gets mistaken for dedication. Think of Paul aiming for that promotion. He's constantly taking classes, attending seminars, tweaking his resume, aiming for perfect.
Sounds productive.
It looks busy. But years go by, and he never actually applies. Why? Because his perfectionism is rooted in this deep insecurity that he's just not quite good enough. It's either perfection or nothing. So he stays stuck, expending tons of effort, but making zero progress on the actual goal.
Paralyzed by the fear of imperfection.
Oh?
Okay. And the last psychological roadblock, lack of self-awareness.
Yeah. Our fear of mistakes, of stepping outside our comfort zone, often stops us from really understanding what we're capable of, what we're passionate about, what our real talents are.
We convince ourselves we can't do it or aren't cut out for it.
Exactly. And we get stuck. We might feel busy, even content, thinking we couldn't possibly work harder. But if we look honestly at the big picture, we might realize we're actively avoiding the things that really matter for our growth, the things we truly desire deep down. We don't even realize we're trapped in this cycle because we lack that awareness.
Okay, listing all those barriers is, well, a bit daunting. It shows how many ways we can trip ourselves up. But let's flip it. What's the payoff? How does life actually change when you do consistently finish what you start?
Oh, the benefits are massive, truly transformative. When you build that habit, your productivity skyrockets. You actually maximize the opportunities that come your way. You start realizing your potential, those Academic or career goals stop being distant dreams and become actual, achievable steps you're taking.
It's not just wishing anymore, it's doing.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just personal achievement, too. It ripples out into your relationships.
Oh, so?
It dramatically improves trust. Think about it at work, consistently delivering on time, keeping promises. That builds huge trust with your boss, your colleagues, your team, and personally, with your family, your friends. They can rely on your word because they see you follow through. It builds respect, reliability.
So trust with others.
Yeah.
And maybe even more importantly, trust with yourself.
Precisely. Following through forces you to get really in touch with your own wants, needs, capabilities, even your fears. You start taking charge of your life instead of being pushed around by unconscious fears or external pressures. You're creating, not just reacting.
Imagine Esther again if she'd countered her barriers.
She could have had that bakery, waking up excited, working on her passion, balancing it with her family, living the life she dreamed of. Following through really is that powerful combination: focus, discipline, action, persistence, driving you toward bigger achievements, better relationships, and just deeper satisfaction with your life.
That's definitely a vision worth striving for. Okay, so we know what it is and why we fail, but let's talk about fuel. How do we stay hungry when that initial excitement inevitably fades and things get tough? That first burst of motivation only lasts so long.
Right. Think about Sally from the book. She started that charity for impoverished people because she genuinely, deeply cared.
Noble intention.
Absolutely. But she wasn't prepared for the harsh realities: fundraising challenges, competition for grants, relentless marketing. She got totally overwhelmed, started asking, why is it so hard to get people to care? And soon enough, she just lost interest and gave up on something that truly mattered to her.
It shows that just caring isn't enough, is it?
Not even close. Sally's story points to this massive disconnect that happens, the gap between what we care about, the positive things we think we'll get, and the negative things we're trying to avoid. When that connection gets weak, when the immediate effort feels bigger than the distant reward, motivation tanks.
So motivation is basically what drives you and stops you from giving up. Minimizing the bad, maximizing the good.
That's the core of it.
Yeah.
And a useful way to think about it is through external versus internal motivator.
Okay, let's start with external ones. These often feel like the stick approach, right? Using pressure from the outside.
Yeah, mostly. External motivators are largely about avoiding negative consequences or gaining external rewards. Think fear of disappointing your family or getting fired or missing a bonus. That fear, that external pressure, can be a really strong push.
And how can we use that practically?
One way is accountability partners or groups. You commit your goal to someone and they'll, check in, maybe give you some grief if you slack off. You're motivated by avoiding their disappointment or negative feedback.
The shame factor.
Pretty much. And a group, that can be even stronger. Exponential shame, Hollins calls it, the compounded disappointment of multiple people. Plus, a group is more stable. That social pressure is a potent external force.
What about putting actual skin in the game, like money?
Yeah. Putting money down, the risk of losing cold, hard cash is a powerful, almost gut-level motivator for most of us. Think about that expensive gym membership you go more often because you don't want to waste the money, right?
Guilty as charged.
Exactly. The guilt over wasted money drives you. You can amp this up by hiring a coach that combines money and accountability. Or get really serious. Give a friend, say, $500 and tell them they only give it back when you finish your task. You find out pretty quickly what your work ethic is worth to you.
Leveraging fear and loss. What about a more positive external motivator, like bribing yourself?
That's self-bribery. Promising yourself a specific, desirable reward if you follow through. Like, if I save X amount of money this year, I get that dream beach vacation. Keeping that vivid picture of the reward in mind can be a powerful pull, especially when you're tempted to do something counterproductive.
So external motivation is mainly about avoiding outside pain or gaining outside pleasure, avoiding shame, chasing rewards.
Exactly. Identify what external pains you want to avoid or what external rewards really light you up and let that drive you.
Okay, now let's shift to internal motivators. These are often seen as more powerful, more sustainable, the carrot approach. Why are these so effective?
Because internal motivators are about what you truly want, deep down. Not just avoiding fear or chasing someone else's approval. They connect to your core values, your aspirations. If you're only driven by fear, and then the fear disappears or seems less scary, poof, motivation gone. But internal drivers make the goal feel intrinsically valuable, like the reward is something profound that no one can take away.
So how do we tap into those?
Self-reflection is absolutely crucial. You need to ask yourself really specific, searching questions like, what am I really getting out of this? Is it money? Sure, but is it also happiness, fulfillment, a sense of purpose? How will my life fundamentally change or benefit? Maybe a better home, less stress, recovering from depression. Really visualize it. How will my family benefit? Picturing your kids being proud, providing a better life, affording that school. Those hit deep. What impact will I have on others? Being a role model, contributing to a cause, building something for the community. What positive emotions will I get? Happiness, pride, accomplishment, self-esteem. These are the bedrock of sustained effort. How do my actions today connect to my long-term goals? Like writing a novel, see how each small step builds toward the final book.
The more specific and deeply felt these answers are, the stronger the drive.
Absolutely. And you need to review these whys regularly, daily even. Keep that internal fire burning, especially when tasks get boring or hard. Remind yourself of the deep satisfaction waiting.
Makes sense. But sometimes, even with strong motivation, the cost just feels too high. Hollins talks about opportunity cost. That's not just about money, is it?
Not at all. It's a huge personal thing. Following through always requires sacrifice. Could be money, yes, but more often it's effort and crucially time taken away from things you enjoy more right now.
And if that cost feels too expensive, motivation just craters.
Exactly. The shadow of what you're giving up looms larger than the goal itself. Hollins offers two main solutions here.
Okay, what are they?
First, strengthen your motivation so much that it just dwarfs the sacrifice. Make the benefit feel so incredibly compelling, so vivid in your mind that it clearly outweighs whatever you're giving up. Like, if skipping Friday nights out means getting your dream career, that career needs to feel drastically more important.
Make the reward overwhelmingly worth the trade-off.
Right. The second solution is to minimize the sacrifice. Instead of a stark all-or-nothing sacrifice, turn it into a compromise sacrifice. So for the Friday night example, maybe you don't skip it entirely. Maybe you go out for a shorter time or go out after your class or schedule it for a different night.
Manipulate the cost-benefit ratio.
Precisely. Make it more palatable. You can't expect life to continue 100% as you want it while pursuing big goals, but you can tweak the equation to make the sacrifices feel less painful and more sustainable.
Okay, so we've got our motivators, we've considered the cost, but how do we keep them front and center? That out of sight, out of mind thing is so real.
It absolutely is. There was a study in psychological science showing people are way more likely to follow through if they're constantly reminded of the motivators. You got to keep those whys visible.
Like Catherine Milkman's study with the paper clips and the elephant statue.
Exactly. 74% remembered to grab the paper clips for a donation when they had that weird elephant statue as a visual cue versus only 42% without it. The cues need to cut through the noise. They need to stand out.
So not just a post-it note that blends into the background after a day.
No, go deeper. Hollins suggests making cues loud, vivid, using all five senses if you can. That picture of your kid on your desk. Maybe it also smells faintly of their shampoo. Or use specific sounds, textures associated with your goal.
Make it impossible to ignore.
Right. And crucially, change and move these cues every few days. Our brains get used to things so fast, if it becomes part of the scenery, it loses its power. Even rewriting your motivators in different words periodically keeps it fresh. The act of creating the cue itself reinforces the intention. It's an active process.
Great practical tip. Okay, now, this is where Hollins introduces the concept of a manifesto, a set of personal rules. That sounds really interesting.
It really is. It's basically a personal declaration, rules you set for yourself that simplify decisions and, importantly, prevent willpower depletion. Think of it like this. Rules take the guesswork out of your day. Decisions become almost automatic.
He uses the example of John the writer.
Yeah. Without a rule, John vows to write 2 chapters after work. But then he gets tired, uninspired, finds excuses, fails, feels guilty, vows to write 4 chapters tomorrow, an even harder task, and ends up writing nothing. He gave himself too much wiggle room, too many choices.
Which makes it easy to choose the easy path, like scrolling social media.
Exactly. But when John applies a clear, non-negotiable rule, 2 chapters a night, no exceptions, the decision is made. He knows he has to do it. He plans for it. He sits down, does the work, feels tired but proud, consistent progress.
The rule limits his options in a good way. Ties his hands almost.
Yeah, it removes that internal debate that drains so much energy. Following through becomes the only real option. Hollins lays out 6 powerful rules for building this personal manifesto.
Let's get into them. Rule 1, the foundation.
Rule 1, evaluate yourself. Simple but potent. Ask yourself, if not for laziness or fear, would I be giving up right now?
Ouch. Brutally honest.
Totally. It cuts right through the excuses, the rationalizations. If you're losing steam on a project and want to slack off asking, am I just being lazy here, or is there a genuine external reason? Forces accountability. If it's just fear or laziness, well, that's on you to push through. It's a direct kick in the butt.
Okay. What about tackling that feeling of being overwhelmed? Too much to do.
That's rule 2. 3 tasks maximum. Overwhelm kills productivity. This rule fights that by limiting you to just 3 major tasks per day decided the night before.
Not about doing less, but focusing energy.
Exactly. Focus your finite willpower. And crucially, differentiate between important versus urgent tasks and between useless motion shuffling papers versus actual action using those papers. Focus the actual action on just those 3 key tasks one at a time. It leads to realistic, focused progress instead of juggling 5 things badly.
Setting clear boundaries for daily output, which leads nicely into Rule 3.
Rule 3. Create limitations and requirements. This is about formalizing your own personal code of conduct. Write down clear statements. What you cannot do, limitations, and what you must do, requirements.
Give me an example.
Okay, limitations might be no more than 1 hour of TV a day, only 1 hour on Facebook, lunch break max 1 hour. Requirements could be read 30 pages daily, 4 hours focused work before lunch, 8 hours work total. These provide clear guide rails, limit distractions, force action. Even if you don't hit them perfectly every day, writing them clarifies your intentions and creates a pre-commitment.
It's so easy to lose sight of the goal when you're in the thick of it, especially if you get discouraged. How does Rule 4 help?
Rule 4. Reaffirm your intentions. This is key when you hit a fork in the road, feel like giving up, or just feel lost in a long project. You reaffirm by stating clearly, I want, I will, and I won't.
Break that down.
Okay. I want is your ultimate goal, the core benefits. I want financial security, a nicer home. I will is the necessary action. I will finish this tough project. I won't is avoiding detrimental actions. I won't distract myself with social media during work.
Like the certification example, feeling overwhelmed.
Right. You'd say, I want that pay raise and career advancement. I will finish this program even though it's hard. I won't let temporary setbacks derail me. Repeating these brings clarity, reinforces the goal and the path.
Really connects your present self to your future goals, which sounds like Rule 5 takes even further.
It absolutely does. Rule 5. Think in terms of 10-10-10. Next time you feel an urge, hit snooze, procrastinate, indulge, or you want to quit something good, stop. Ask yourself, how will I feel about this decision in 10 minutes, in 10 hours, and in 10 days?
Forces you to see the future consequences now.
Instantly. That immediate pleasure of skipping a workout might feel good for 10 minutes. But 10 hours later, regret starts creeping in. 10 days later, probably 100% regret. The fleeting pleasure is gone, but the lapse in discipline, the break in routine remains.
Connects you to your future self immediately. Makes the trade-off stark.
Exactly. But Hollins stresses brutal honesty here. If you know that for you, one skipped workout often becomes a week of skipped workouts, then an honest 10-day assessment tells you that single lapse is dangerous. It's not an exception. It's potentially the start of a negative pattern for your personality. It reveals the true long-term cost.
Build self-awareness around your patterns. Okay, final rule. A simple way to build discipline right now.
Rule 6. Just 10 minutes. Incredibly simple, incredibly effective. If you want something negative or unhelpful, scroll social media, eat junk food, procrastinate, force yourself to wait just 10 minutes. If the urge is still there, wait another 10. It removes the immediate from gratification, gives your rational brain time to catch up. Often the urge weakens or vanishes.
And the flip side, for quitting something good.
Tell yourself, just 10 minutes more. 10 minutes feels tiny, easy to commit to. But that small commitment builds discipline, breaks inertia, creates momentum. Often, that 10 minutes turns into 15, 20, or more because you've overcome the initial resistance. It's a powerful psychological hack to get started or keep going.
So like you said, following through is really 100% mental. It takes serious cognitive effort, especially when things get tough. This is where the right mindsets are invaluable. Hollins talks about Gerald dreaming of being the next Steve Jobs.
Yeah, Gerald had the ambition, the dream. But when faced with the actual discomfort the money needed, cutting back luxuries, the sheer amount of unknown work, he freaked out.
Decided it wasn't worth the discomfort.
Totally. Settled back into a secure job he hated just because it was comfortable, predictable. His mindset was negative, inflexible. He prioritized the known even though it didn't satisfy him. He failed before he really began because he wasn't willing to be uncomfortable.
If he'd had different mindsets, maybe he could have adjusted, right?
Exactly. Hollins outlines 4 crucial mindsets that can reframe your whole approach.
Let's start with mindset 1. It's worthwhile. What's involved there?
This comes from research on what keeps students going, and it applies perfectly to adults. 3 core parts. First, belief in hard work. Genuinely believing that your effort, not just luck or talent, leads to results and improvement. Hard work is a prerequisite. Second, self-belief and belonging. Feeling confident that you belong, you can thrive in whatever you're doing. Like feeling your input is valuable in a meeting or you can handle that client. Don't create self-limiting beliefs.
And the third part?
Value and relevance. This is huge. You have to deeply understand why you're doing something and how it fits into your bigger picture. If you don't see the value, you'll quit. Even annoying tasks, like a required college class, gain meaning if you see how they connect to your dream job down the line. Every action becomes valuable.
Believing in the effort, yourself, and the purpose. Makes sense. What's next?
Mindset 2. Comfort with discomfort. Absolutely crucial, because follow-through is never totally comfortable. It requires doing new, difficult, unfamiliar things. You need to become immunized to discomfort.
Overcome that instinct to avoid anything uncomfortable, like extra work, difficult conversations.
Exactly. Even though those are often the things that lead to growth, change is uncomfortable but essential. Learning a new language, super awkward at first, loads of mistakes, but it leads to huge opportunities. Discomfort, Hollins says, is temporary. It fades with exposure, staying comfortable. That just leads to complacency, stagnation. Don't quit just because it feels weird or hard. Push through it.
Embrace the suck, basically. Okay, mindset 3.
Mindset 3, allow learning. This encourages you to see everything you do, especially challenging stuff, as a quest for knowledge. Finishing something, even if it fails by some standard, always means you learned something. You evaluated yourself, the process. Giving up, that's automatic failure. You learn nothing.
You only learn certain things by seeing it through to the end.
Exactly. You gain skills, information, self-knowledge. Even if it doesn't work out as planned, you learn what doesn't work, which is vital for future success. This mindset takes the fear out of failure because you still gain something valuable, knowledge. Asking, what can I learn here, breeds curiosity and motivation. You want to see how it ends just for the data.
And the final mindset tackles something unavoidable. Stress.
Mindset 4, de-stress. Stress and anxiety are kryptonite to willpower. When you're stressed, your thinking gets muddy, your discipline evaporates, your brain's in survival mode, not self-control mode.
He mentions that study about stressed students.
Yeah, the Australian study. Stressed students neglected healthy habits. Diet, sleep, exercise, and smoked more, drank more caffeine. Negative emotions, sadness, anger, anxiety are major triggers for self-control failure. Depressed people often seek immediate gratification because they just don't have the emotional resources for effort.
And this links to projection bias. Assuming how we feel now is how we'll feel later.
Exactly. We falsely project our current calm, well-fed state onto our future stressed, tired, hungry self. We make ambitious plans when we feel good, forgetting that our future self might feel very different and lack the discipline we currently possess.
So we need to be proactive about stress.
Absolutely. Build stress-reducing habits into your daily routine. 30 minutes with friends, reading, music, meditation, exercise, a walk. Be aware of your emotional state, your affect. Consciously protect your working spirit by prioritizing recovery. Don't underestimate how much stress drains your ability to follow through.
Huge point. Okay, let's shift to the ultimate productivity killer. Procrastination. We all do it. It feels like this unbeatable monster sometimes. How do we actually smash it?
Hollins uses the Madeline versus Michelle example on a code project. Madeline procrastinates, rushes, delivers buggy work, gets a bad review. Michelle breaks it down, uses a system, rewards herself, delivers great work, gets repeat clients. The difference is fundamental.
And it boils down to something called time inconsistency.
Yeah, that's the root cause, according to behavioral psychology. It's the battle between your present self and your future self. Present self wants instant gratification, the nap, the scroll. Future self wants long-term rewards, the finished project, the promotion. They're like two different people with conflicting desires.
Present self doesn't want to wait, even for big rewards later.
Right. So the best way to fight this is to bring those future rewards into the present somehow. Make the hard thing feel good now.
Which brings us back to temptation bundling, the canoe example.
Exactly. Katie Milkman's concept. Cleverly combine something you have to do but don't want to, an obligatory task, with something you want to do but maybe feel guilty about, an instantaneous reward.
Like eating Twinkies only while working out, or watching trashy TV only while folding laundry.
Precisely. Or working on that boring report only while getting a foot massage. Make the difficult thing feel good right now. Milkman found up to 51% were more willing to exercise with bundling. Make 2 lists. Guilty pleasures versus things you need to do. Find creative pairings. Don't make the process painful. Make it palatable.
Clever hack. What's another strategy to break procrastination's grip?
Small, easy increments. Break tasks down into minuscule, microscopic components. The goal is to make the very first step ridiculously easy, because starting is often the hardest part. Break inertia.
Like the 100-page project becoming 100-word paragraphs?
Yeah. Or even easier, just start by outlining or organizing notes or setting up the document. Do the absolute easiest parts first to build momentum. Get a small win. You can even do 95% of a task and leave the easiest 5% as the starter for next time. By the time you get to the hard parts, you're already warmed up, feeling confident.
Break it down until it feels silly not to start. Okay. What about a less frequent but maybe more intense kick for when we get complacent?
That's consider risks or productive paranoia. Think Bill Gates, Jim Collins' research. Successful people constantly plan for the worst. How could this fail? What are the threats?
Fear is a motivator.
In small, controlled doses, yes. By thinking about what could go wrong if you don't act, you motivate yourself to work hard to avoid those outcomes. Ask yourself, how could I lose out if I delay? Will the opportunity vanish? Will my reputation suffer? It strips away complacency, but use it sparingly. It can be draining. It's a powerful jolt when needed.
Okay, internal strategies covered. Now, how do we design our external world, our environment? How can we optimize it to make follow-through easier?
It starts with minimizing distractions. Distractions are sneaky willpower thieves. Remember the Baba Shiv study. Remembering a phone number depleted willpower, making people choose cake over fruit more often. Even small cognitive loads matter.
And out of sight, out of mind is key here.
Hugely powerful. The Cornell study with Hershey's Kisses. People ate fewer when they were in opaque jars or further away. Use laziness to your advantage. Make temptation require effort. Clear your desk, clean your digital desktop, turn off notifications. Make it so the easiest thing to do is work.
Make the right choice, the path of least resistance, the default.
Exactly. That's defaulting to positive actions and behaviors. Most decisions are automatic, driven by convenience. Think about the organ donor study. Opt-out countries had near 100% participation. Opt-in countries way lower. People stick with the default.
So apply that to our lives.
Yeah. Move distracting apps off your phone's home screen. Put your phone face down, out of reach. Violin on the desk, ready to play. Floss everywhere. Fruit on the counter. Pull-up bar in the doorway. Vitamins by the toothbrush. Make the good choices effortless. You save willpower because you've pre-optimized your environment.
What about multitasking? That feeling of constantly switching. It feels inefficient.
It is inefficient. You're experiencing attention residue. Sophie Leroy's research showed when you switch tasks, part of your brain is still stuck on the old one, hurting performance on the new one.
The modern multitasking myth.
Totally. Clifford Nass at Stanford found heavy multitaskers were terrible at filtering irrelevant info. Their brains were wired for distraction. The solution: single tasking. Focus on one thing, period. No checking email, no monitoring messages. Turn off notifications, one browser tab. Jot down stray thoughts for later, but get back to the main task immediately. Consciously resist switching.
Eliminate the switching cost. And grouping similar tasks helps too.
Yes, that's batching. Like Ford's assembly line workers do one thing repeatedly, becoming super efficient. Batch similar tasks together. Check email only at set times, say top of the hour for 10 minutes. Handle all emails in that block.
Saves mental energy from context switching.
Exactly. Batch meetings into one afternoon.
Yeah.
Make all your calls at once. Even batch your distractions. Get them out of your system for focused work. Less switching means more productivity.
We all use to-do lists. But Hollins suggests a don't-do list is just as important.
Brilliant idea. It identifies those sneaky time stealers and distractions masquerading as priorities. 3 categories to put on it. 1, tasks you can't act on yet, waiting for others. Note a follow-up date, then mentally shelve it. 2, tasks that don't add real value, busy work, trivial stuff. Delegate, automate, or just eliminate them. Don't paint the bike shed when the nuclear reactor needs attention. 3, tasks with diminishing returns. Is polishing that report from 90% to 95% the best use of time, or should you start the next 0% task? Know when good enough is truly good enough. Avoiding these frees up so much mental energy and time for what really matters.
Great filter. What about acting when you don't have all the info, avoiding analysis paralysis?
Colin Powell's 40-70 rule. Act when you have no less than 40% and no more than 70% of the info you need. Less than 40%. Reckless. More than 70%. You're likely getting bogged down, overthinking, missing the window of opportunity, that 40-70% zone. Enough info to be informed, but leaves room for intuition and adapting on the fly.
Like opening the cocktail bar with 60% inventory. Launch and figure out the rest.
Exactly. Encourages action over endless contemplation.
And finally, maybe counterintuitively, sometimes the best thing is to do nothing.
Absolutely. Burnout is real. Brain fatigue kills clarity, discipline. We rest our bodies but neglect our minds. Doing nothing truly disconnecting, letting your mind wander, allows for mental recovery and often leads to creative breakthroughs.
Those aha moments in the shower.
That's it. Your brain makes connections in that relaxed state, alpha waves, that it can't when actively focused, beta waves. It's not just passive rest like TV, it's active mental recovery. Like an athlete between races resists the phone, stare out the window, daydream. It's incredibly productive for long-term clarity.
Okay, even with all these tools, pitfalls remain. Hollins talks about Michael launching his freelance firm with totally unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, Michael envisioned tons of money, minimal work, tons of family time, bodybuilder physique, all at once. When reality hit, the massive gap between expectation and reality was crushing. He burned out fast.
He suffered from false hope syndrome.
Exactly. Grossly overestimating the changes you can make, how fast, how many, how easily. Setting the bar impossibly high leads to disappointment, backlash, and less motivation than before. Michael needed realistic expectations based on his actual situation, not a fantasy. Incremental progress, not overnight miracles.
And then there's overthinking.
Yeah.
The silent killer because it looks like work.
So deceptive. You feel productive, researching, analyzing, but it's often just analysis paralysis. Too many options, too much minor detail research leads to freezing up. Remember the paradox of choice. Too many printers leads to anxiety and no decision.
Solution.
Emphasize action. Limit choices. Focus on core needs. Act and adjust. Don't get stuck contemplating forever.
And its close cousin, worry.
Yeah, ruminating on problems, real or imagined. It steals your control, pulls you into the uncontrollable past or future. Suffering twice, Hollins called it. Wasted energy. The antidote. Ruthless focus on the present, on what you can control, and taking action. Shift from dwelling to solving.
And finally, a big one. Failing to know thyself.
Not understanding your own productivity style. Do you need quiet or buzz? Strict schedule or flexibility? Michael eventually adjusted his schedule to fit his daughter's rhythm, finding what worked for him. Don't just copy others, find your own flow.
And diagnosing why you fail, being Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. Are you reading too many time management books instead of just using a calendar? Is the issue procrastination or just too much clutter? Failure is only useful if you understand the cause so you can fix it.
So how do we bake all this into daily life? Make it consistent, even when willpower dips. Hollins stresses daily systems. He uses Ned's story, the consultant who got overwhelmed.
Ned relied on willpower alone. As business grew, he drowned. No systems. 12-hour days, missed deadlines, burnout. Systems are the key because willpower is finite. Systems streamline, organize, make things almost automatic. You just do the routine.
Systems versus goals.
Goals are one-offs. Systems are consistent behaviors for long-term success. They carry you through every goal. A good system ensures some progress every day, even if it's not perfect. Consistency over isolated bursts of effort.
So how do we build these systems? Where to start?
First, keep a scoreboard. Leverage that human desire to win, to see progress. Track tasks visually, checklists, whiteboards. Seeing progress is motivating. Celebrate small wins, new client, tough obstacle overcome, mini rewards. And have a big reward for the final finish line. Keeps you going.
What about managing time systematically?
Robust time management. It's more than a calendar. Set a routine work blocks, meals, sleep, self-care. Assess time needs, realistically time yourself, add buffer room. Review tasks daily. And crucially, minimize distractions within the routine, set specific email times, focus blocks for calls, etc. Create predictable focus periods.
Making good habits easy, bad habits hard.
That's lower your transaction costs. The cost, money, emotion, physical effort to do something. Manipulate these. Make good habits cost nothing, effortless organization, easy access. Make bad habits cost a lot. Climb stairs to smoke, put snacks out of reach. Ned could have made organizing easy and 12-hour days too costly by scheduling mandatory breaks, family time. Structure your environment to guide choices.
And finally, setting yourself up for success before starting.
Gather all information first. Before any big project, get everything you need up front. Saves time, prevents momentum-killing stops and starts, like carrying all groceries in one trip.
What kind of info?
Hollins mentions, who's responsible for what? What's the desired outcome? Specifics. Realistic deadline, follow-up plan, what happens after? Resources needed, money, people, tools. Potential obstacles, brainstorm them. Had Ned done this, automated emails, anticipated workload, planned for help, he could have avoided burnout.
Wow. Okay, that was an incredible deep dive. We went from understanding the core parts of follow-through, that Voltron of focus, discipline, action, persistence,
To tackling all those barriers, the tactics, and the psychological roadblocks that hold us back. We looked at fueling motivation, both externally and internally, navigating costs, keeping it visible.
building that personal manifesto with those 6 powerful rules, cultivating the right mindsets, believing it's worthwhile, getting comfy with discomfort, allowing learning, de-stressing.
Then, hacking productivity. Smashing procrastination with bundling and small steps, designing our environment, single tasking, batching, the don't-do list, the 40-70 rule, even doing nothing.
Avoiding the final pitfalls like false hope and overthinking. Knowing ourselves. And finally, wrapping it all up with the power of daily systems over sheer willpower. Scoreboards, time management, transaction cost, getting info first.
So what did this all mean for you listening? It means you've got a seriously comprehensive toolkit now. You have the strategies to systematically bridge that gap between just intending to do something and actually consistently getting it done.
It's not just about wishing anymore. It's about building the habits, the structures, the mental frameworks to make change inevitable.
And if we pull back to the bigger picture, true transformation, real change in your life, it doesn't usually come from these huge sporadic bursts of effort. It comes from that steady, unwavering consistency. So here's a thought to chew on. What one small thing, one actionable change from everything we discussed will you implement today? What single step will create the biggest ripple effect in turning your intentions into reality?
Consider the possibility that consistency, not just intensity, is the real engine driving lasting transformation.
That's a powerful thought. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Peter Hollins' Finish What You Start.
We really hope you can apply these insights. Start building that consistency.
Absolutely. Until next time on Daily Review, keep digging deep.